is a coincidence, like nothing is ever out of place, out of sync or out of touch with anything else, not the notes on the radio or the choreography of the planets and stars. All that's necessary is to look and see. Since the axis of planet Earth spins 1 degree every 17 years, on the next winter solstice in December 2012, from our point of view, the sun will rise in the center of the Milky Way galaxy, an alignment that occurs only once every 25,920 years. Mayan astronomers painstakingly plotted and ingeniously recognized this with the naked eye over 1,000 years ago. They recognized this approximately 26,000-year cycle as the cosmic equivalent of their 260-day Solcan calendar of 13 20-day periods, the approximate time of human gestation, in the cycle used for the cultivation of maize. So they said this event will mark the passing of the world we live in now and the birth of a new world, based on a fundamental shift in our consciousness. What happened 26,000 years ago was that not when man began talking, telling stories and myths, and painting on the walls of caves. What's happening now at the end of this period of cosmic gestation? Is this not when we all began instantly communicating with each other across continents and oceans? Are we not more conscious of each other now than we ever believed possible before? Are we not seeing for ourselves that we are all much more similar than different, and almost all would like to live in peace with freedom and justice as its guarantee? Have we not been overthrowing scores of dictators and trying to drive corruption and inequality out of our systems? Are we not seeing these forces desperately push back like it's their last stand or decisive action? Are we not seeing the vast destruction of unique environments, habitats and species all over the world? Are we not watching the polar ice caps melt and the ice on Greenland suddenly disappear? Have we not witnessed earthquakes and tsunamis that have claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, and the spread of war and repression that's taken millions more? Are we not becoming aware that we must make peace with nature and peace with each other? Are there not more faculties of our minds and properties of the universe waiting to be discovered and change the way we live entirely? Our brains cannot very well keep track of the different sources by which thoughts enter our heads and how they relate to and influence other thoughts when it comes to putting it all together. Does an individual's brain really understand the difference between a thought conjured on its own accord and what's being communicated to it on our backlit screens and our printed pages, from the random and uncertain sources of others' conscious ideas? 2012 feels like the center of the whirlpool of time everything is spiraling into. As I write about this experience that can only be studied second-hand, save for a few generations every 26,000 years, I wonder if this writing, or anything for that matter, will escape the pull of this center of gravity, this whirlpool of time, this black hole of existence. I'm hesitant to write because I feel like it might all unravel from here. As we approach this moment of galactic synchronization, as conscious of each other as we are now, it is as though the curtain is being raised faster and faster, for all of us to see and for all of us to be seen, and we can see how we've all been hating and acting treacherously against each other, aiming for catastrophe. So we must all determine and believe that we will all live and exist for each other, that we will protect our own freedom and security not by denying it to anyone but by all protecting it for everyone, even more diligently and brilliantly than we worked to walk and breathe on the moon. As we keep seeing everything in such rapidly increasing detail, it will seem as though we are experiencing collective neurosis, certainties disappearing and questions becoming more difficult to answer with our dominant ways of thinking. We can get through this forest by remembering that our existence in this world of entropy is simply to behold, revere, and to be, because outside of the relative constructs of space and time, matter and energy, everything is all one thing happening at the same time. At least from here we can bring everlasting and mathematically sound ideas and principles into this world like freedom and equality to be true guideposts in establishing society for the benefit of everyone at large, not for the benefit of one against another or one's all for themselves. Freedom, simply defined, is when everyone is allowed to exercise their liberties to the greatest extent possible without harming others or depriving anyone of their liberties. In short, you and everyone else deserve to be free, but that gives you no right to take away anyone else's freedom, and the only real way to protect your freedom is by protecting everyone's. The main point of society is equal protection, to be here for each other and to all help each other survive, not against each other, but to help each other survive all the threats to society and its individual members. All manner of things can follow from here, but without this basic compact, little more than destruction and exploitation ever will. It's fascinating how we live in highly cultivated civilizations and diverse societies, and in our museums, where we put the finitude of our knowledge on public display, there are figures of ancient shamans encased behind glass, dressed as various combinations of animals, communicating with the universe and with nature through rituals and sacred wisdom, and we try to show all we know of these people, when actually it was them and their kind around the world who knew all about us and could view our activities and the costumes we wear as though we are the ones behind glass in public museums. We are each the new and the old, the modern and the ancient, the free and the oppressed and the oppressors, the innocent victims of revenge and the ones wielding it. We all have the blood of our saviors and martyrs on our heads, but we are all washed in this blood, so it matters not. The end of revenge is when people are so indignant with the injustice and aggression against them that they would never want another to suffer the same way. Revenge is the most base way of communicating how hurt we are by another's actions, and the most savage way of trying to amend our wounds, and it always causes more harm than good. We are all hurting, and if all the scores were suddenly even, we would find that we all actually love each other, and it's the forsaking of this love that hurts the most. Do not expect to be forgiven if you will not forgive. We could look at where we all stand now, with the curtain raised, exposed in fluorescent light, and throw accusations back and forth, claiming the right of revenge, but the ones who have truly suffered, and have thus gone beyond, want none of that anymore for anyone, and instead just want all to be free and live in peace. All war and struggle has its roots in believing the appearances of separation, and the source of all peace is understanding we are all one. While journeying through space and time, it is helpful and convenient to use names, identify qualities, count quantities, record measurements, and speak of the future, the past and the present, but never really believe this dismemberment is absolute. To believe in separation is to be yoked with insatiable greed and constant fear, to seek more and more for yourself even at the expense of others who are never really others to begin with. Know and understand that we are all one, and you understand that everything is always yours, always has been and always will be, and all human beings, not only some, our dear family who we should help and look out for carefully. Fairness would then be like physics, and physicists like artists or shamans, revealing that all should only take from another what we would willingly give of ourselves. Anyone in possession of this true knowledge would rather go hungry than force hunger on another, for you know in the end your sacrifice means you will share that bread with everyone who eats because of you. So if you have suddenly found yourself here in this time zone or another, and everything seems to be coming apart, and there seems to be a shortage of nearly everything, like there's some blockage somewhere that could be long gone if only someone was wise to it, that blockage might be yours to remove, and that gunk obstructing all of this from flowing freely is everything you see which causes you to believe we were ever really apart, something separate, completely. We've never really been apart and no coming undone is final. All knowledge is accessible, so learn anything about anything from anything, because in everything there can always be found a metaphor for everything. Let everything be its own meditation, then once you've got it all figured out, who exactly we all are and what this is all about, you know you are where everyone is going or trying to be, and the best you can do is help them arrive safely, sheltered from the violence and hate of fear and greed, yours, their own, or from any others. I struggle to get these words out before the ink runs out, before the batteries are drained, before the screens go dim, to escape the gravitational pull, this whirlpool of time, to arrive safely somewhere eternal within our experiences in time, the eternal within all of our existence, before all the screens turn off, before we all run out of ink. If this message has reached that eternal part of you, please reply with a nod, a smile, or a wink. Either everything is a coincidence or nothing is a coincidence, as though the world is one great story written by a perfect author, where nothing is out of place unless it's meant to be, where no character is unimportant, no personality flat, no scene without meaning, no music that doesn't underscore, and always for an astute reader, a fine amount of foreshadowing. The only thing that makes passing through this world of impermanence and fading forms tolerable, even enjoyable, and mystifying, is that we are all here together, where eternity and time cross together, and similarly, no goodbye is forever because it's either see you soon or see you later. And take care to remember, friend, that when any truly great artist or author presents a composition, the first thing he will seek to impress is that it is indeed very well composed, from beginning to end.